Hi, everyone, and welcome to New Jersey Wedding Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are your hosts, Andrea Pertel and Celia Milton, and we are both professional wedding officiants here in the state of New Jersey. And today we are going to explore unique hand fasting ceremonies.
Mm.
Right, Celia?
I love it. And we've both had couples that have basically this has been the only piece of their ceremony besides the kind of legally little things we have to do. But this is the basic. If you want a short, sweet, lovely, visually interesting ceremony, you could do something as simple as one of these hand fasting ideas with
Yeah.
just like the statement of intent and vows, of course, and then the pronouncement, and you're good to go. And it's
Yes,
so
you can have
unique.
a very traditional ceremony
Yep.
with traditional wording, and this is your unique personalized part. Now, a lot of times, well, first of all, if you don't know what a hand fasting is, it's a
Mm.
beautiful and symbolic unity ritual. It is often associated with Celtic or pagan traditions, but I think that's very old school. You don't
Yeah.
need to be Celtic, Irish or Scottish or whatever, or pagan to include a hand fasting in your ceremony. So I know we've talked about the Celtic and pagan traditions, but today we're going to talk about different ways to include it in your ceremony, as a unity ceremony, just as a personalized unity ceremony.
Mhm.
And, one of my favorite ones that I have done recently was very similar to a sand or candle ceremony, where it's the representation of two becoming one. And, well, here's an example. We use three chords, just like with the sand ceremony, the three different, the two different colors, and then the one unity vase for combining them both. So we'll use three different chords. One belongs to partner number one chord belongs to partner number two, and the third chord represents the couple united in marriage. So the officiant can either place the chords, or you can involve, say, your mothers. That's a good
Oh,
way
I
to
love
involve
that.
your
Yeah.
mothers, have them come up and place. I'd like to invite, the bride's mother to come place her cord over her hands. And she just comes up and loosely places it over their hands, and then I'd like to invite, the groom's mother, or, the brides or the two grooms, whatever you like, to come up and
Mhm.
place it. And then myself, the officiant, I can place the third one. But as each cord is placed, this cord represents partner number one, all that you are, all that you have been, all that you are, and all that you will ever be. And the third one for him. And then the other one represents the two united in marriage,
Mhm.
and there's some really beautiful wording that you can put to this. And then at the end, then I usually do a blessing. Well, I tie the knot around
Mhm.
their hands, and I usually do a blessing. And then at the end, I tell them to pull the knot with their free hand, making the lover's knot, or the figure eight, the infinity symbol of infinity. And we talk about that, the everlasting bond. So I like the unity hand fasting. That's very nice. Obviously, I start a hand fasting ceremony with explaining what it
Right, what it
represents.
is. We used to, it was a way of uniting two people, not necessarily in a church or a synagogue or, a religious building like that. That came European basically in origin, but it's a simple hand fasting, and I love it. You're more courageous than I am. I don't let them. Well, I would let them if they wanted to, but the lover's knot thing, I always get that messed up, so I just like tie it myself,
When
and I put
when
my
you
hand
do
on
the
top. And
lovers knot, when you end, I give my couples a choice. They can either take both their hands, cross them
Mhm.
over at their wrists, and
Right.
take each other's hands. Now they have made the symbol of infinity, the figure eight, with their hands, and they're holding both hands, and you could tie the rope through them. If that's the case, you can't end with the lovers knot because they don't have a free hand. Or they can, or I will instruct them to, now take each other's hands, your left hand, the hand that now has your ring, because I always do it after the ring exchange,
Yeah, I do
because you
too.
can't do the ring exchange while your hands are tied.
Right,
So
right.
your heart hands, the ones that hold your ring. And I will say, if, you know, usually the groom, if it's a bride and groom, the groom will put his hand out and she'll put hers on top
Hmm.
or whatever, however you want to do it, two brides, two grooms, however. And then we place the cords or the ribbons over it, however many they have. And then I tie it in a certain way where at the end they can use their free hand, their right hand to pull it. But it all depends on how they want to hold each other's hands, what their vision is. So I'll
Hmm.
do it both ways.
Yeah, I get a little bit like crazy because I'm afraid I'm gonna screw it up. So I just like I wrap it around their hands, I tie it, I put my hand on top of theirs, and I say, "The binding has been made." Yeah, right. Because
That's
I'm like
beautiful.
because I'm a weenie. That's why.
No, that's
But
beautiful.
you know,
Oh,
I
I've
love it.
practiced this so many
Oh, I
times.
know. Yeah.
When I've been doing, my kids have now grown up and flown the coop here, but I've been doing it 14 years. When I first started doing it, I can't tell you how many times I hand fasted them.
The
Wait, I
kids.
got to practice, guys.
I know
Mom,
it's
come on, I
funny
got to practice. I got to get this right.
to tie the kids together. You know, I think it's such a great such a great ritual because there are so many ways to personalize it to yourself. And I know like the kind of thing that we think about right away is using symbolic colors. Whether, you know, a
Yes.
lot of my couples will buy uh cords on Etsy, that beautiful like braided cords, but there are always, you know, a number of different color, two or three colors in there,
Yep.
and every color has a meaning. You've got yellow
Yep.
for friendship, blue is fidelity and trust, and green, I love the red for passion and warmth. And you know, with
Yeah.
every color has numerous meanings that we can, you know,
Yeah.
the couple can pick the things that would, you know, represent them. And
Right. I say you don't have to pick at the colors that I give examples of. What are your
yeah,
wedding colors? What are your favorite colors?
right.
I'm going to get out the color wheel and I'm going to see how we can talk about that color and what it means to you. I
Yeah,
love using the colors like you
I
do.
do too.
And again, even if the example I just gave, mother is placing the
Hmm.
yellow ribbon or the yellow cord over, if you're using separate ones over, and
Right.
this cord represents friendship and communication,
Hmm.
and the red, or like you said, they can already be woven in,
Yeah.
braided into one cord.
Those are pretty.
uh,
They usually have, you know, decorative knots and charms. And
yeah.
Carrie wrote a fabulous hand fasting. I think I want to say that this was for a Braveheart theme wedding, but I'm not entirely sure. But she did and she calls it the Elements hand fasting with four chords for earth and fire and air and water, and each one is a different color, and each
uh,
of course has like earth, will you stand firmly on this earth, grounding yourself in happiness, but nurturing your bodies with understanding and honesty. So I think that this is so powerful. I love this, and it'll be in our sample. Um, I've had people pick different types of chords based on the one I remember always the first one I remember is a couple that I had that the bride was Japanese and the groom was Scottish, and they used, instead of like chords like satin rat tail or something like that, they used a strip of tartan cloth, and
mhm.
she used a strip of kimono cloth from, I honestly think it was from her mom's wedding kimono, and we draped with those. I've had people use strips from. I had one bride use a strip of denim from her dad's work shirt. Um, I even had a couple use their dog's leash as part of their hand fasting
I think that's
cords.
beautiful. I actually
I
think that's
know. It's
gorgeous.
making me like a little bit verklempt.
Yeah, I love that.
But you know,
I
it just gives us as officiants, it, you know, it gives us another way to talk about, you know, the things that are important to the couple, whether it's a kind of quality that their partner has or the heritage of their families, you know, with the different fabrics. I actually had somebody use a strip from her mother's wedding gown as
love
well.
that.
And, you know, it's another way of injecting some real thoughtfulness into a ceremony, and I love it. I love, and hand fasting is wonderful because your photographer is looking for things that are going to look like something besides us talking to you in front of them.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I have
Yeah.
had a couple and they used a white ribbon and they wrote on it what they loved about each
Oh, I
other.
love that.
And so with black, like a black Sharpie on it, it was
Yeah.
really pretty. And that also reminds me that you can do something like that if that's what you like. You can have your loved ones, your closest family, or your
Yeah.
wedding
I like
party, or
that.
whoever come up and place ribbons to use as the cords with their blessing for you on it. And they could
Yeah.
either say their blessing out loud as they place the ribbon over your hands, or just silently, or myself as the officiant can read what it says.
Mhm.
But, like the mom could come up and say, I place this, my blessing for you is that you have or happiness and trust and da da da,
I kind
whatever
of
they
love
want to
that.
say.
Yeah.
I love that, adding their blessing to it. Two of my favorite wording for the hand fasting is at the beginning when I say this cord symbolizes so much. It is your life, your love, and the eternal connection that the two of you have found with one another. May you be bound together by your love now and forever. Then we do the blessings and all of that. And then at the end, I always either take the hand fasting off myself or have them do that
Mhm.
lover's knot before I pronounce them so that they're not bound for their kiss. That's kind of awkward. That takes away from that photo too, I think. But if unless
Mhm.
they want to be bound for it. But I love the wording. The ties of this hand fasting are not formed by these cords or
Yes.
even by the knot connecting them. They are formed instead by your vows, your pledge, your souls, and your two hearts now bound together as one.
Mm.
For either of you may drop the cords, but as always, you hold in your own hands the making or breaking of this union. I think that's so
Oh,
beautiful.
that's nice. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I think what do my people usually? I usually have see because I'm too much of a weenie to do a real knot. They can usually slip their like outside hands out of that, and they can walk back down the aisle with the cords hanging from the hands that they're holding. If
Well,
that makes
I
any
love
sense.
that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
you do pronounce them and have them kiss with their hands
Yeah.
bound. Okay.
Yeah, one hand is they're going to have the one hand, like if they're walking down the aisle, the hands they would be holding, like somebody's left hand and somebody's right hand, those are still going to have the cords draped from them. Yeah.
Because if there's a bride, she might want to get her bouquet back, or they might want to. So I give them the choice. A lot of them
Yeah.
choose to do that lovers, end with the unity
Mm,
knot, the lovers knot. And for that, I step out because I'm professional. I
that's
step
right.
out of that photo,
We're
and
gone.
that's a good photo op of them holding that.
Yeah.
And then I take the cord and I usually give it to the best man to hold and walk back down the aisle with, or another member of the wedding party, or maybe
I
hand it
love it
to
though,
one
because
of the moms.
a lot of our people, when we talk to the floral preservation people, and a couple of my couples have sent me pictures of like their shadow box that they make with like the invitation and the cords, and I
And
just think
yeah,
it's such a sweet keepsake. Yeah.
include your hand fasting cord in your shadow box,
Yeah, I
or
like
it
it.
should be displayed around your home in some way. That's quite
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So there are many different ways to do a hand fasting. That's our point. Talk to your professional officiant. Tell them what you're looking for, and they should be able to write something. I know both Celia and we know all the options. We can write something beautiful for your hand fasting. You want to include your children, parents, or other special people? Got
Yeah.
to think outside of the box. We can craft a unique ceremony incorporating special ribbons, heirloom fabrics, like Celia has had the pleasure to do, meaningful charms. Now, when you mention charms, you can't, charms hanging at the end work for making the love knot
Yeah.
at the end, but not charms in the middle. So when I see that, on a hand fasting cord, I say, I'm going to tie the knot and then untie it, a
Mm.
very simple knot.
Yeah. It's
Um,
just so, it's so pretty because, and I think it's really very useful because we do have people who want very short ceremonies. We both do a lot of elopements, a
a
lot
lot
of
of people
micros.
like to include them in an elopement.
Yeah, just because
Make your elopement special,
it is.
Yes.
It's special and it's a good, a lot of my elopement people have photographers. And it just, I think it just makes it really kind of you can have a very special wedding without having 100 people watching it. And
Right,
I think sometimes people, very often and when you read about stuff online, it's like, oh, we're just eloping or we're just having it's like it's not just anything. It's your wedding and you've chosen to do it in this way. But I
right,
think that's, including a hand fasting is a great way to make it really feel special and
right,
significant.
right.
It's not just Tuesday in the park. It's like your wedding.
Well, the beauty of hand fasting is it is flexible. It can be part of an
Mhm.
elopement. It can be part of a big, beautiful ceremony.
Right.
You can incorporate other people. You can just have it yourselves. So
Yeah.
it's flexible. It's deeply personal, spiritual. It's really, you know, can be whatever you want it to be. I would like to encourage our listeners, if you post the comment on our Instagram when we this is going to be on our Instagram
Hmm.
page, right?
All of us. You and me and us.
So comment hand fasting and we will direct message you with a link to get our little guide to hand fasting.
Yeah, all these ideas all written down for you. If you're in the car and you're commuting and you're like, wow, that was a great idea, but you can't write it down, we got you covered.
Right, right. Yeah, I love it. I think it's a very special and still a unique way. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
it's still it hasn't been overplayed like some things, you know. It's
Yeah.
still unique, and the reason it's so unique is because you can personalize it. It can be Celtic, it can be pagan, it can be just you, you know.
Yeah,
I love the idea of incorporating special materials.
I
And
do too.
even at on Etsy, you can pick what colors you
Yeah.
want to.
Hmm.
If you're going to get just one rope, one braided rope off of Etsy, you tell them what colors you want to use, you
Yeah.
know.
And then tell us and we'll incorporate them. It's
Mhm.
cool. I love them. For some last year I did a lot of hand fastings last year. And I don't know if it's maybe are
Was
there
there some
more
on
like
TV?
I was gonna say, is there something on Netflix that's playing really, really a
Because
lot? I don't know.
I remember when the Vikings were popular, that series, I got a lot of hand fastings. And what was the other one? Oh, and there's a
Oh,
beautiful reading that goes with that.
I don't know,
Game
Braveheart.
of Thrones.
Oh,
Braveheart.
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
Game of George R. R. Martin is from New Jersey. The guy that
Oh,
wrote that.
really?
Yes, he is. He's from Bayonne, and I've been using that. It's a beautiful reading. I think the best thing about that reading is that at the end you get to say it's from the Game of Thrones, and people just go nuts. It's
Yeah. It's quite beautiful.
yeah,
But yeah, there's sometimes you see a spike in them because of
yeah,
what people might be watching.
very true.
You know, so it's but you can always personalize it to yourself. I do like the colors, like you said.
I do too. And and it is a great way to involve, if you want to involve children, and they're not really, really little, it's a great way to do that. I've had a number of families do that. I think that's great. So,
Yeah, a
cool.
beautiful, beautiful way to incorporate your own personality and spirituality into your
Mhm.
ceremony. So think about including a hand fasting. There's so many different ways to do it. And be sure, if you would like us to send you the link to our hand fasting guide, just comment hand fasting
Yeah, we'll
in the
get that out too.
comments
Yeah,
and we will direct message you with the link.
you got it.
Thank you
You'll be
so
all
much
set.
for joining us. Hey, and if you're looking for an officiant
Yeah,
for your hand fasting ceremony here in New
we got a
Jersey,
couple of them right here.
yeah. All right. Happy wedding planning.
Have a nice day, everybody. Bye.
Bye. This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now. Also, New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey, and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.